It's like the apocalypse. It's like a nuclear bomb went off. We're working at Feather River Hospital the morning of the fire. It's pitch black at this point. It's like nighttime, but it's 9 in the morning. I think the only reason you could see something is because flames are starting to build. And so our first thought is that we'll get out of the car that we're in, pull it off to the side of the road, maybe run. And you get out and you can't breathe. I mean, people tell you that in fires, but you cannot breathe, you cannot see. And then you start seeing flames building on the sides of the road. I don't think we realized the severity of what was about to happen at that point. We pulled the car off to the side of the road because we heard explosions, propane tanks start going off. I don't know exactly what it was, but it started to feel very, very unsafe. And we wanted to run.
You wanted to get out of the car?
Wanted to get out of the car because you're stopped bumper to bumper at this point. You know, there's nothing happening, and you can imagine this inferno starting, and it starts to look like hell on earth at this point, and you're not going anywhere. And so you start having this fear of, we're all gonna burn inside of our cars right now, which happened to a lot of people.
Whoa.
Some clearance in the road had happened at this point, so we were able to drive. We get into this deputy's vehicle and start driving, and we felt a little hopeful because you're moving forward. I mean, you're moving, you're not sitting there waiting to burn, you know? And then it felt very dark again, and we just kind of ripped down power lines. I mean, it's worse than any disaster movie I could explain. I don't have the words to explain what it looked like at that point. So we called our families.
Oh my gosh.
We were pretty
This was a farewell call in a sense?
Very much so. We just said, I love you, I'm not gonna make it out. We get back into the sheriff's car to start it because he was trying to help move the vehicles out of the way, and it wouldn't start. There's no oxygen in the air at this point for the vehicle to even start. So at that point, we just get out. I mean, it sounds, like you do it panicked in that moment, but you are in survival mode. And so you get out of the car and you start walking up a hill that you know you'll never make it up because you couldn't barely drive down it. Apparently, one of the radio transmissions did go through. They sent a bulldozer and a fire truck because the flames, it's so severe at this point that just a fire truck couldn't even get to us. The pictures, I know, are incredible for people to see, but to be there is something different. We feel very grateful to have this opportunity to try and make something out of this and to connect the dots of climate change. This fire was November, and it was hot. I mean, we were warm. We were wearing t-shirts the days before the fire, and it should be raining, and things are changing quickly, and every single year, it's just worse and worse. And so, if anything, we just want to help prevent this from happening to other people and to other communities, because it will.
This wasn't an accident. We described the warm weather, the drought that California has experienced. And unless we have the courage to really take on some bad news guys who think that the end of life is just making as much money as they can despite what they do, California or Vermont or the world, what Chelsea just described is going to be taking place more often and all over this world.
This is not a partisan issue, this is a moral issue.
Yes.
And we need climate leadership like Senator Sanders, but we also need it at the state level, we need it at the local level, we need it grassroots, populist base. Every single person has to be doing their part to fight for our lives, right? It's to fight for our planet and a planet for our kids and our grandkids, but it's our lives right now.
And the rest of the nation's gonna move on in weeks. And we want these faces to stick and these stories to stick as representatives of what's been going on.
We want this conversation to continue. We don't want, once the shock of everything wears off, for people to just go back to normal and wait for the next disaster to happen.